Welcome to episode 8 of In His Bag. It's kind of a dead period right now in sports, so had to come up with a couple of different things that we're trying out today. So let's get started. Cue the intro music.
Tedeschi dentro sotto per Dybala, attenzione, va la gioia di Dybala!
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang!
Like I said, this is episode 8, and we are in the dead period of sports right now. NFL offseason, kind of in the waiting period for the draft. NBA is in the middle of March basketball, which is the nastiest time of year. We get Bam Adebayo 83-point games. So not too much stuff has happened, and we kind of had to come up with a main topic on the fly. So we'll see how that goes. But for now, let's get straight into the news that has happened since the last show. Starting off the news, we're going to start off in the world of soccer. And this builds off of something I talked about a couple episodes ago, and it concerns the Iranian national team and their participation in the World Cup. They have said that they will boycott the United States, but not the World Cup. They announced this on Wednesday. And right now, as things stand, Iran is set to play all of their group stage matches in the U.S., but they are trying to get those games moved to either Mexico or Canada. Ideally, they're trying to move them to Mexico. That way, they don't have to play in the U.S. and they can boycott the U.S. in protest of what has been happening recently out there. Like I said last time I talked about this topic, I'm not a huge fan of discussing politics when it comes to sport, even though I understand that they are intertwined to like the umpteenth degree. They're like a Gordian knot. You can't separate them, and you will never be able to. So even though I don't like talking about it, it's something that will always come up, and it's always something that we as sports fans will have to deal with to some capacity. So it's nice to see at least that Iran they don't want to completely pull out of the World Cup, which in and of itself would create so many issues. But the fact that they're willing to negotiate, try to move it, I think is ideal. And I think that FIFA should play ball with them, should try to figure it out. If it's feasible to move the games down to Mexico, I think that they should do it. Try and just keep the games going and just have it in a way that all the teams are able to fully participate despite everything that is happening in the world. But after that, we move on from kind of somber topic. We get to soccer. More interesting soccer. We got the Champions League. The second round has, or the second round of the second part of the round of 16. Ugh, I can't speak. Second part of round of 16. What I call the ritorno has happened, and kind of went as expected. Barcelona, after tying Newcastle 1-1 in the first leg, put on a dominant performance, winning 7-2. They scored 4 goals in the second half, and it was not even close. Now they are moving on to face Atletico Madrid, and I'll talk about them. Atletico Madrid, they did lose 3-2 to Tottenham, but their dominant 5-2 win in the first leg helped them advance. They advanced 7-5 on aggregate, so they will be playing Barcelona, and then you have. Actually, I'm not sure if Atletico's playing Barcelona. I'll have to double check. But after that, another one that went chalk. Bayern beat Atalanta 4-1. They advanced 10-2 on aggregate. If you watch the Champions League episode where I previewed all the Champions League teams and I tier listed them and put my Champions League winner, I had Bayern reaching the finals. And this doesn't do anything to change my mind about that. If not, it enforces that opinion right there. And then finally, the last game that happened on Wednesday, Liverpool took care of business against Galatasaray at home. And Liverpool came out swinging in the second half. They were tied 1-1 on aggregate going into the second half of this game. That first half included a missed penalty by Mo Salah. Then, Liverpool just scored 2 goals in the span of 2 minutes. Could have been a third goal, but it was called off for offsides. And then Salah added another goal. And so they scored 3 goals in the span of 9 minutes. Absolutely just racking it up against Galatasaray and sending them home. And I talked about I was going to look at the next matchups. They're happening in April, early April, but we got Real Madrid and Bayern Munich, one of the quarterfinals. That is going to be amazing. Bayern, like I said, took care of Atalanta, and the Real took care of Manchester City as well. So that will be a spectacular game to watch. And I'll be watching both legs of that. After that, Sporting took care of Bodo, as I talked about on the news episode. I didn't think that was going to happen, honestly. I thought Bodo was set to advance after they won 3-0 in the first leg. But no, they lost 5-0 at home, or 5-0 against Sporting. After that, they will be facing Arsenal, who took care of Bayer Leverkusen. And then the other side, I am now confirming that Barcelona will play Atletico Madrid. I think Barcelona moves on there. I just think they're the better team overall, just more complete as a squad. After that, the final quarterfinal game or final game of the first leg of the quarterfinals. There's a lot of words there. I don't like that. That is horrible radio, horrible listening, but who cares? We got PSG versus Liverpool. I picked PSG to move on from there, but if Liverpool can put together a whole game like they did in the second half against Galatasaray, then they very much have a chance against a PSG team that is very good in its own right. But that's it for soccer. And now we move on to the NBA. And some interesting stuff has been happening. One of them is Luka Doncic. He's averaging 41 points over his last 8 games. He is shooting 50% for the field, 42% from three. The Lakers are on an 8-game winning streak. Let me just read out his point totals in the past 8 games: 60 points, 40 points, 36 points, 30, 51, 31, 35, and 44. Divorce Luca is the scariest human being on the planet. This is terrifying. I don't know what is happening, but the Lakers are just on fire. LeBron is out the window. I don't care about him anymore. Luka Doncic is it, and it's not even close. Like, if I'm not mistaken, the Lakers are now they're closing in on the Rockets for the 3 seed if they haven't already taken it. I could be very wrong there, but if if Luka continues to play like this and carry this flawed roster, I he should be high on the MVP ladder at the end of the season. I don't know if he'll get it, considering that Shea will probably be within the game limit. So, but Luka should be very high on the MVP ladder, all things considered. Like, this run is insane. And then someone who could have been on the MVP ladder but hasn't is Giannis Antetokounmpo. He hyperextended his knee the other night, and the Bucks have made it clear that they want to sit him for the rest of the season, and Giannis does not want to. This has led to some disagreement between the two parties. They are now at odds again after the entire trade deadline drama of will he get moved, won't he get moved, what's the potential here, what are teams offering. After all of that, Giannis wasn't moved, but now this triggers a whole new cycle going into the offseason, because clearly the Bucks aren't going to do well in the postseason if they even make it. So this could be the end of the Giannis era in Milwaukee. I feel like everyone's been saying that for the past 2 seasons, considering all the disagreements that have happened, all the roster moves, all the frankly bad moves that have happened and that Milwaukee has made. I think that they're reaching the point of no return when it comes to Giannis and what he wants to do, and just the relationship between the Bucks and Giannis. I feel like it's getting to a breaking point, and something is bound to snap. Like, there's no getting around it. Something is 100% bound to snap there. And then we move on from one injured player to another. Cade Cunningham has been diagnosed with a collapsed lung, and he's expected to miss a decent amount of time. This sucks, dude. Cade Cunningham I loved watching Cade Cunningham this season. Pistons were a fun team. 1 seed in the East. Shocking a lot of people. I don't think people thought that the Pistons were going to be this good this quickly, but they are amazing. They were playing super, super well. It just collapsed lung is a wild injury for an NBA player. Like, how does that even happen? I don't even know, but it's just something that you don't expect to happen. And then this also not only has implications for the Pistons, who, jeez, what in the world was that? I have no idea. Well, I'll figure that out later. This has implications not only for the Pistons, who are holding on to the number one seed. The Celtics, I believe, are 4 or 4.5 games back of them. So it's not exactly a huge gap. So things could very much change if the Pistons aren't able to maintain their position going into the playoffs. If the Celtics get the one seed, I feel like they could make it out of the East if they get the one seed. If they get home court advantage and the Pistons don't, the Celtics could make it out of the East to face most likely the Thunder, potentially the Spurs. So this could change a lot in the East. Also, it changes stuff on the MVP ladder as well. I don't know how exactly what games played Cade is sitting at right now, but if he misses the rest of the season, I believe he won't make the 65 game limit. So he'll be ineligible for All NBA. He'll be ineligible for MVP, and he was climbing up MVP ladders. This brings into question again the 65 game rule and the absolute absurdity of it. The fact that you have to play 65 games, and this season, like, there's questions about pretty much everyone when it comes to that rule. Like, there was questions at one point in the season. There was questions about Shea making it. There was questions about Jokic making it. There was questions about Wemby making it. Those are your top 3 MVP candidates. Now there's questions about Cade making it. He was also a top MVP candidate. Like, you can't have that happening. And I've harped on this rule way too much already, but the NBA has to change it. There's no getting around that. NBA, Adam Silver, do something about this. You can't have this rule in place because it's ruining the league way too much. Players are getting accolades that, frankly, they don't deserve. Like, no hate to some of these guys, but you shouldn't be getting all NBA nods. You shouldn't be getting MVP votes, even though MVP vote is a whole different story. People are just throwing that in there. They're like, hey, yeah, this guy played good. I'll give him my first place vote or something. Like, dude, no, he didn't deserve it. But that's a whole other can of worms. And someone that is definitely a can of worms is Dennis Rodman. So the Hall of Famer is now a WWE Hall of Famer too. What doesn't this man do? He is the wildest human being on the planet Earth. There's already the millions of stories of him when he was in the NBA, going to Vegas, all the shenanigans he did, marrying himself, doing this, that, and the third. Who knows what he was doing, partying, whatever, being best friends with the North Korean leader. I'll just say that. Like, he's an insane man. He was part of NWO, New World Order. For those who don't know, it was a group in WWE during the 90s, early 2000s. And now he's getting inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame for that. So, Dennis Rodman, one of the wildest human beings on the face of the planet. Congratulations, you are a WWE Hall of Famer now. That's just wild to me, dude. Like, when I think of WWE Hall of Famer, I think of like John Cena, Hulk Hogan, Steve Austin, like The Rock. I think of people like that. I don't think of Dennis Rodman. It's just weird. But hey, Dennis Rodman is the weirdest guy. Who cares about that? We got March Madness now. Who cares about Dennis Rodman? We got madness here happening on our own. And boy, has it been madness. Duke nearly lost to Siena. they were down by like 13 points and they only won by 6. Dude, I don't even know how that happened. It was ridiculous. And then the rest of the Eastern region kind of went chalk. TCU and Ohio State was a back and forth game, but that's 8 and 9, not crazy. Louisville took care of USF. Michigan State took care of North Dakota State. So that's going on in the East. And then at the time of the recording, you got St. John's versus Northern Iowa, and you got UCLA, UCF. And then you go over to the Western region. You got Arizona took care of business against Long Island. Utah State, kind of like the TCU Ohio State. Utah State beat Villanova. That a bit bigger of a gap. It was a 10-point game, but 9 beat the 8 seed. We got the upset of the tourney so far. You got the white boy of the tourney, right? I think right now you got Wisconsin losing to High Point. The first major upset of the tournament so far, and people are making so much noise about that guy. I'm saying that guy because I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I've seen all the stats about him. His first made field goal that wasn't a 3 was that layup at the end of the game. And High Point beat Wisconsin 83-82 to move on to the next round. Then Arkansas handled business against Iowa. Texas upset BYU. 8-point win over the Cougars. Longhorns are moving on. AJ DeMonsa, early exit from his one and only March Madness appearance, presumably, unless he stays another year, but I doubt he will, considering the amount of hype that he has. And then Gonzaga took care of Kennesaw State as well, 9-point victory there, calm game. And then one game going in the Western region is Purdue versus Queens. And then after that, we go over to the South. Vanderbilt took care of McNeese. And Nebraska took care of Troy. Nothing crazy there. And then we got another upset. VCU took care of North Carolina. The 11 seed VCU is moving on to the next round. And yeah, it was rough. I didn't think North Carolina was going to get beat by VCU, but VCU turning it on. We have now another potential Cinderella team. We'll see how they do against Illinois. 3-seeded Illinois just put a beat down on Penn State, won by 35. And then A&M beat St. Mary's 63-50. They move on to face Houston as well. And then you go to the Midwest. Michigan took care of business against Howard. And then St. Louis put an absolute beating on Georgia. It was a 8-9 game that was supposed to be closer than it actually was. It was supposed to be a decent game, not a massacre. The Bulldogs are now hot dogs, dude. It's bad. After that, Texas Tech took care of Akron. Alabama took care of Hofstra. They will face each other in the next round. And then you got Tennessee took care of Miami, Ohio. Oh, a lot of noise was made about Miami, Ohio making the tourney after they lost to UMass in the MAC championship, or in the MAC tournament. And then you got the Kentucky Santa or hold up, I'm breezing over. Virginia beat Wright State, so they're facing Tennessee in the next round. But dude, I almost breezed over Virginia because the Kentucky Santa Clara game was insane. If you haven't gone and watched the last minute of regulation, go watch that. It was wild. You had, I think it was Kentucky made the layup, and then Santa Clara took the ball, made the three with I think maybe 2 seconds left, and then Kentucky, like a near half court heave, tied the game at I believe it was 73 to go into overtime, and then Kentucky manages to get the win in overtime against Santa Clara. Their reward is facing Iowa State, who put a 34-point beating on Tennessee State. So that was a rough go around. And I'll just breeze through the second round matchups. You got Duke, number 1 Duke versus number 9 TCU. This is in the Eastern region, and then you got Louisville versus Michigan. In the West, you got Arizona and Utah. You got High Point, Arkansas. You got Tennessee, Gonzaga, and then you got the TBDs. 1 TBD in the East. You got 2 TBDs in the East. That'll be either the winner of St. John's and Northern Iowa versus the winner of Kansas and C.A. Baptist. And the other TBD is the winner of UCLA and UCF versus the winner of UConn and Furman. And then the 1 TBD in the West is the winner of Miami and Missouri versus the winner of Purdue and Queens. And then you go over to the Southern region. You only got 1 TBD. That's the winner of Florida Prairie View versus the winner of Clemson, Iowa. Clemson, Iowa is happening right now, as I'm recording this at least. And then the other matchups that are already decided, you got Vandy versus Nebraska, you got VCU versus Illinois, and you got A&M versus Houston. And then you go over to the Midwest, you got Michigan versus St. Louis, Texas Tech versus Alabama, Tennessee versus Virginia, and Kentucky, Iowa State. I'm just gonna keep going here. We got, for my money, say 3 potential Cinderella teams. You got High Point after their win over number 5 Wisconsin. They're playing number 4 Arkansas, so we'll see what they do there. And then you got potentially VCU and potentially St. Louis. So those are my 3 Cinderella teams to watch in the next round. But from one college tourney to the other, we go to the NCAA. We go to college wrestling. Championships are happening right now in Cleveland. So I don't know about y'all, but I'm tuning into that. I watched the majority of the matches yesterday and also a lot of the matches today. And the semifinals are set. At 135, you got the 1 seed Luke Lindenhall against the 5 seed Troy Spratley. And then second semifinal, you got 14 seed Jacob Moran versus 10 seed Mark Anthony McGowan. So I think Lindenhall is going to come away with it in the 125. I don't feel like Moran or McGowan are going to be able to beat Lindahl or Spratley, whoever comes out of that matchup there. And then at 133, you got Jack. That's 133 went. I think it was the only bracket that went chalk so far, with 1 seed Jax Forrest versus 4 seed Aaron Seidel. And then you got 3 seed Marcus Blaze versus 2 seed Ben Davino. That has gone chalk. And honestly, I I can't predict that, dude. I have no idea who's going to come out from that. All of those guys are insane. And then 141, it was as close as possible to chalk with one seed Jesse Mendez. He's going to face off against 5 seed Luke Stanich. And then you got 3 seed Brock Hardy versus 2 seed Sergio Vega. And this is where stuff starts to get funky. I'll just say that. 149, you got Shane Van Ness, 1 seed versus the 20 seed Chance Lammer. And then the second semifinal is number 11 seed Lachlan McNeil versus the 10 seed Aiden Valencia. So, that's interesting right there. You got the 10 seed, the 11 seed, and the 20 seed at 149. I feel like Shane Van Ness is going to win that, but Aiden Valencia has been wrestling really well. Like I've seen him around Stanford campus. I've seen him lifting. I've seen the way that he's moving around. I've watched all of his matches as well. I know a couple guys that are talking to him that are friends with him that wrestled with him. They said that he's feeling good, and honestly, I agree with them. So I might take Aiden Valencia, hot take, but that'll be interesting to see what happens at 149. After that, 157, you got 1 seed PJ Duke versus 5 seed Landon Robideau, and then you got 11 seed Ty Waters versus the 2 seed Antrell Taylor. I feel like this is going to end up with a final of Duke versus Taylor. I watched Taylor wrestle yesterday. He looked very, very good yesterday, and just PJ Duke is a monster, dude. I don't even know what to say there. But yeah, I don't know. I'm going to be watching the entire thing tomorrow, semifinals and finals, so I can't say I'll be watching all of it. After that, 165, you got 1 seed Mitchell Messenbrink versus 12 seed Cesar Alvan. And then you got 3 seed Mikey Caliendo versus the 2 seed Joey Blaze. This was also as close to chalk as possible, except for Cesar Alvan. I don't know. I feel like Messenbrink, he's potentially one of the biggest favorites coming into nationals. So I feel like he could very well just sweep through whoever comes out at 65. And then after 65, you got 74. You got 1 seed Levi Haynes versus 5 seed Patrick Kennedy. And you got 3 seed Christopher Minto versus 7 seed Cam Steed. Again, I'm leaning towards the 1 seeds, but it's not Penn State bias. It's just the rest. Penn State is just, they're on a dynastic run right now. Forgive me for not including any wrestling programs in the Dynasties episode that I did a couple episodes ago. If you haven't watched that, go watch that. Unshameless link. I don't care. But, dude, Penn State's wrestling program is just, they're going to be nasty. Dude, they have Ono coming in next. No. Not Ono's the judoka. Oh, I forget his name. But they have the... No, his name is Ono. I forget his first name, but they have Japanese freestyle world champion coming in. He's nasty, and the only reason they sat him this year is because freestyle is different from American folk style, which is what they do in college. So when he learns that, it's going to be game over. And then 84, you got 1 seed Rocco Welsh versus 5 seed Brock. Wow, that is a lot of N's. Jeez Louise. Mantanona. Okay. Yeah, let me start from scratch. 184. You got Rocco Welsh versus Brock Mantanona. And then you got 3 seed Mac McEnally versus 7 seed Angelo Ferrari. Angelo Ferrari has been wrestling well. I know he went into OT in his last match, but he's been looking good. And then 97, you got Josh Barr, 1 seed Josh Barr versus 5 seed Joey Novak. And then you got 3 seed Stephen Little versus 7 seed Cody Merrill. And then at 85 or 285, you got Younger Batista. Oh, sorry. I said that there was only one weight class that went chalk. There are two. Second one being 285. You got Younger Batista, 1 seed Younger Batista versus 4 seed AJ Ferrari. And then you got 3 seed Tay Gadali versus 2 seed Isaac Trumbull. Forgive me, I mispronounced that Michigan wrestler's name like crazy. Not great with names. And then we'll just look at the points. You got team points. Penn State is up by a mile. They're up by 39.5 points right now. It's pretty clear they're going to come away with the team national championship. So I'll just read it out. You got Penn State at 1 with 105.5 points. You got Nebraska at 2 with 66. Oklahoma State with 64.5. Iowa with 50.5. And then Ohio State with 44. And then caveat. Preview some of the stuff tomorrow or tonight. I don't know. At least time of this recording. We got semifinals and consolation matches happening at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then tomorrow, 6:30 Eastern, you got all the finals happening. So stay tuned for that. One thing I did notice when I was going through all of this, every single 1 seed made it through. And that is partly the reason that Penn State has so many points, because they have so many 1 seeds. They have the 1 seed at 25, 49, 57, 65, 74, 84, and 97. So that is part of the reason that Penn State is so high up. And the final piece of news that has happened, some sad news. This isn't necessarily sport related, but it is. Chuck Norris has died at 86 years old. He was 6-time undefeated world professional middleweight karate champion. He founded United Fighting Arts Federation. And dude, Chuck Norris is just a legend. I've watched a lot of his movies. One of the reasons that I started doing martial arts was because of Chuck Norris. So it pains me to see a guy like Chuck Norris like no longer with us. I feel like we've been losing so many like legends as of late. It just sucks, dude. One of the most legendary people, not even in like the world of martial arts or in the world of movies, just in general. I feel like if you say the name Chuck Norris, people know who that is. They're like, oh yeah, I know who Chuck Norris is. That's like the tough guy, the karate guy, the martial arts guy, like the movie guy. Yeah, like Chuck Norris. He is universally known all over the world. So R.I.P. to Chuck Norris, dude. It's sad. I hate to see this. So yeah, that was the end of the news. That's all I have for news. Now it is time to get into the main topic of the episode. Welcome to the main topic of the episode. Something that I didn't really think I was going to do, but some of my MMA friends have talked me into it. So, shout out to you. And here we go. So, we are going to be putting the top 15 fighters in the UFC into, we're just going to be ranking them 1 through 15. So, without further ado, let's get started. The first fighter that we have on the list is Petr Yan, the current bantamweight champion of the UFC. He has a record of 20-5, and he's coming off a win against Merab, a dominant win against Merab. So this is interesting. I don't know where. He's good. Petr Yan is great, dude. He mopped the floor with Merab. Honestly, he came into his career with 15 straight wins, I believe, but he did go 1-4 over a certain stretch from 21 to 23. Some interesting losses. I'll put it that way, but that win against Merab is really moving me. I'll put Petr Yan at 4, and then after that, where do I go next? We got Volk up next. This is tough. This is really tough. Volk is my favorite fighter, dude. I don't care that he's old. It does not matter to me, dude. Volk just moves me. He's coming off a win against Diego Lopez, second win against Diego Lopez too, which he looked good in this fight. He looked nice. So this might be some Volk bias in me, but I'm putting him at 5. Volk is amazing, bro. He has 28 wins in his career, 28-4. He's the undisputed featherweight GOAT, in my opinion, even though he has losses against Ilya and Islam, who teaser are going to be very high up this list. He pushed Islam far. It was a close fight. I've seen clips of Islam saying that his toughest fight ever was that fight against Volk, and that's true. That's accurate. Volk gave him a run for his money. And then I think if Volk didn't take that fight against Ilya on like 10 days notice, it would have been a very different story than what it actually was. However, I can't put him like top 4 just because he is 37. He is getting up there in age, but he has the whole package. He has the ground game, he has the striking, he has the wrestling, he has all of it. So without a question, Volk, my personal GOAT, apart from Mighty Mouse and GSP, Volk is 5. After that, we get into kind of a weird conversation here. We get to Justin Gaethje, which is weird. He is the interim champion, but I'll put him at 13 right now. He's the interim lightweight champion. He beat... Who'd he beat for this title? Oh, wow, I am blanking on it. He beat Patty for this title. It was, honestly, I thought Patty was going to win, but Gaethje came away with the victory, and he's now set to fight Ilya for the lightweight title. Gaethje, his record, he has 27 wins in his career, only 5 losses, so essentially one more loss than Volk, who's 28-4. But I feel like, I don't know. There's just a difference with Gaethje. to be fair, Gaethje has gone up. He's made it to. This is going to be his third title fight, the one against Ilya. So he faced Khabib after he lost his dad. He faced reigning champion Charles, who was a monster at the time too. So you can't duck points for Gaethje saying that, oh, he hasn't faced tough opponents. No, he's faced tough opponents. Like, I'm looking at his fights right here. You got fight against Paddy for the title, against Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier, Charles, Khabib, Tony Ferguson, and then other title fights in before the UFC. So he against former champions Eddie Alvarez too. He fought against Edson Barbosa, Cowboy Cerrone. So Gaethje has the resume, but I feel like he doesn't have the all around game that I would say these other guys have. He's more of just a pure brawler, someone who, I don't know, it just doesn't resonate with me as much. But he does have the interim title, which does carry him a decent amount. After that, we get to JDM. He is coming off of a loss to Islam. His one and only fight as reigning champion so far, and I'll put him at 14, just below Gaethje, just because he is younger. He only has 18 professional fights compared to Gaethje's, or 18 wins compared to Gaethje's 27. He also doesn't have that boost of being champion anymore, even though Gaethje isn't a champion. He's the interim title holder, which is some boost, but I don't know. I feel like JDM, it didn't look great against Islam. Islam was able to neutralize the striking. I went into that fight thinking that JDM might be able to do something with the striking and jiu-jitsu combination, but Islam just completely turned that into a non-factor in the last fight. And now he's going to go up against Prates and the start of May. So I don't know how exactly that's going to turn out for him, especially considering I feel like Prates might potentially knock JDM out, considering what Prates has been doing, which isn't exactly a vote of confidence for JDM, all things considered. I'm kind of breezing over JDM here, kind of knocking out the back end. And finishing out the back end, we got DDP. DDP is it's a weird, I don't know. I put him last just because he isn't really a top in middleweight. You have Hamzat, who he's up there in these rankings as well. Teaser. You also have Imavov, who is up there. You have some of the other guys that are rising too as well. So I don't feel like DDP really has that. Let's just put it this way. All of the other guys here have that really refined thing, the thing you point at, you're like, oh, this guy is just an absolute monster at X. Let's say Piotr Jan's like boxing and kickboxing. It's disgusting. Well, I'll take the example of Hamzat's wrestling. There's nothing like it. So I feel like DDP just doesn't have that. I don't want to say his title run was fluky because he beat Strickland for the title and then he beat Izzy and Strickland again. But some of the stuff, it didn't feel coordinated. It just felt like it was kind of just willy-nilly, just willpower my way through the fights. And then the fight against Hamzat, that is partly also because Hamzat is just an animal. But DDP just wasn't able to do anything. from start to finish, from the time the bell rang to the end of the round, Hamzat was in control the entire time, and that just kind of knocks DDP down a notch for me when you compare him to some of these other guys. And then after that, we got Ankalaev. I said rounding out the bottom, and I really meant that. We got Ankh at 12 here. He is the number one contender in light heavyweight. He's above Yuri. So I don't know. Ankh is a weird case. I don't. They're. Let's just put it this way. Charles was not healthy going into that fight against Ankh, the first fight, and that's the real reason that he lost. We all saw what Ankh did, or Pereira did to Ankh in that second fight. Turned the lights out instantly. It was brutal, but Ankh does have some good moments. I just can't put him higher than this because it's kind of like DDP, where Ankh doesn't have this one thing that really, really stands out to you when you watch him compared to some of these other guys. I feel like it's like, yes, he does have the wrestling, but it's not amazing. Like, even the first fight against Alex, it wasn't like his wrestling didn't blow you out of the water. Yes, it was cage, like the cage wrestling was good, but it wasn't like takedowns. It wasn't true dominance in like something that I want to see from my champion, someone that's able to just sit there and control absolutely everything from round to round. So that's a bit of an issue for me. After that, we're kind of just going from bottom of the list to top here. We got Charles Oliveira, and I got him at 11. Charles, kind of like Volk, is one of my personal goats. I love Charles, dude. His jiu-jitsu, chef's kiss. It's amazing. And I talked about Volk having a lot of fights. Dude, Charles has 37 professional wins. He has 48 professional fights, dude. That's insane. He's coming off a BMF title win against Max Holloway. It was a dominant win, too, at that. It was disgustingly good. Like, he didn't let Max see the light of day with takedowns. He didn't mess around with the boxing, any of that. He's just like, let me play to my strengths. And that's why I have him above these other guys. I keep talking about these other guys like JDM, DDP, Ankh, as not having this really like solidified skill. Charles has that. His jiu-jitsu is honestly the best jiu-jitsu out of any of the guys on this list. He has the best jiu-jitsu in the UFC. That is one of the main reasons he's on this list. After that, you add in the championship pedigree. He's been in multiple title fights. He's won the BMF title, even though he lost to Ilya in devastating fashion. Ilya is a monster in his own right. He is higher on this list, as I've mentioned. But then he has his own title. He has his own title reign. He beat Chandler for the title, and he beat Poirier, Gaethje as well. He eventually lost to Islam. So two of his most recent losses had been to two guys that are really high on this list, Islam and Ilya. So there's no knocking Charles for that. After that, he's fought Ferguson. He's fought Arman, who, spoiler alert, Arman is also on this list. Like, he's fought pretty much everybody you can think of when it comes to the lightweight division. So Charles deserves a spot on this list without, like, there's no question about it. Charles deserves a spot. After that, we get to Marab. Marab, he's coming off his loss against Peter Yan. Peter Yan looked great in that fight, but Marab is still deserving to be in the top 8. He is another one of those guys that just has that skill that you can't sweep under the rug. His gas tank, I don't know if you count his gas tank as a skill, but his gas tank is absurdly good. His wrestling is also very, very good. So Marab is an interesting guy, but he's also a great fighter. He has 21 wins. Like I said, he's coming off of that loss against Petr Yan. Kind of funny I have those two just sitting right next to each other, but discussion for another day. I believe he should be up. He should have a third fight with Petr Yan if that wasn't the third fight already, but he should fight again for that title. I don't think anyone else in the bantamweight division should get another title shot. It should be Marab. And then when you look at Marab's pedigree, he beat Sean O'Malley. He beat Jose Aldo. He beat Petr Yan. He's beat Henry Cejudo. He's beat Umar. He's beat Corey Sandhagen. Like, he has he's beaten pretty much everybody in that division, and he's the only person that deserves a title shot with Petr Yan. So he's well-rounded. He goes at 8. After that, we get to Mr. Controversial, Arman Tsarukyan. Coming off of, he beat Dan Hooker in his last UFC fight. He's coming off of, how do I describe this? A no contest in his brawl at RAF 6. Let's just put it that way. He won the wrestling match. It was a no contest in the brawl that he started afterwards. So Arman is an interesting guy. When you clear out all the bias, he is the number 1 contender in the lightweight division. I don't care that Gaethje has the interim title. I don't care that Charles has the BMF title. They're both lightweights. When you look at just pure fighter, Arman is right behind Ilya in that division. His wrestling is impeccable. I keep talking about each of these guys has one skill. Arman's wrestling is amazing. We've seen it at multiple RAF events. He's dominating those. We've seen him at submission grappling fights. He's going there as well. We even saw it in his fight against Dan Hooker. It wasn't even close. He tabbed Dan Hooker out with the guillotine. So for that, I'll put him there. He's amazing, but I am docking him points just because we don't know what his future is going to look like. The recent RAF fight, and you also add in the alleged broken nose of Dan Hooker from the headbutt, the alleged punch of a fan at UFC, I think it was 300 or something, and the other issues that are surrounding Arman. It's not really sure when he's going to fight next, so Arman is going to go in at the 10 slot, but I think Arman should get a title fight. Whoever wins out of Ilya and Gaethje, Arman should be next up. Sadly, I don't believe Dana agrees. He doesn't necessarily agree with me on that front. And then after that, we get to former flyweight champion Pantoja. He's an interesting guy. I like Pantoja a lot. I I have him on this list, and I don't have Joshua Van just because I think Pantoja lost via freak accident. That elbow break was a freak accident. If it never happened, I believe he wipes the floor with Joshua Van. So he's the king of the flyweights. I don't care what what happens. He had an 8-fight winning streak going into that Joshua Van fight. So he's going in at number 9 just because he doesn't have the title right now. But he is, after Joshua Van fights against, what is that Japanese guy's name? Tatsuro Kaida or something along those lines, I believe. Once that fight happens, I think Pantoja should get the next shot. He should get a shot to reclaim his title as top of the flyweight division. Even Mighty Mouse, the flyweight GOAT, and other people agree with me out there. I know some of you watching agree with me on that Mighty Mouse is the flyweight GOAT. Even Mighty Mouse said that Pantoja is the guy at flyweight, and I agree. It's not close. He has an all around game. He has the ground game. He has the striking. So Pantoja is a great fighter. But he's not this guy. He's not Islam Makhachev, who is the number 1 fighter in the UFC, and it's not close, dude. Islam is 28-1. He's disgustingly good, bro. He moved up a weight after dominating lightweight. He moved up to welterweight, took care of JDM easily. He now has tied for Anderson Silva for the longest winning streak in UFC history, and he'll probably be the one to claim that, be alone at the mountaintop for longest winning streak in UFC history at 17. And dude, he has it all. People say Khabib was the prototype. Islam is version X. He is Weapon X, dude. He has all the wrestling of Khabib. He has the trips, he has the judo, he has the takedowns, he has the sambo, he has all of it. But dude, he also has the striking. He has the punches. We saw that high kick against Volk, I think it was. We've seen it all. He is disgustingly good in all aspects of his game. So, Islam, you are the number 1 fighter in the world right now. I don't care what people say about UFC's heavyweight being the baddest man on the planet. No. That is Islam Makhachev. Without a question. I don't care. He fights at 175 now. He probably walks around at 85. You can't tell me Islam can't handle himself and can't do well against some of these heavier guys as well. And then speaking of heavier guys, we got Tom Aspinall here. Tommy Aspinall, you go 7. Just because I have some questions about you, Tom Aspinall. When are you going to fight again? Are you blind in your eyes? How many surgeries have you gotten? Are you okay? So you are still the heavyweight champion. Cyril Gane and Pereira are gonna fight for that title, for the interim title, I believe. But will you be able to take on that challenger or not? I've heard stuff that you've had 4 eye surgeries or whatever. or more than that. Like, you wanted to take on John Jones, that didn't happen, so you got the title after John Jones vacated it. Nice, cool, whatever. You haven't done anything after that. It was a no contest against Cyril Gahn. We saw that his, like, he was up to like here in your eyeball with his fingers, which is crazy. But other than that, we don't know like what you look like really. You haven't really made it out of the first round ever. And you didn't look great against Cyril Gahn. You're relatively unexperienced when we compare you to some of these other guys. You've only had 15 wins. So, pardon me, we just had some technical difficulties there. What was I saying? I was talking about Tom Aspinall and how he did not look great against Cyril Gahn in that first round. Cyril Gahn looked a lot better than he did. So that is why I have Aspinall at 7. After that, we get to Ilia Topuria. He is 2. Undoubtedly, Ilia Topuria is number 2. He is undefeated. He's 17-0. He just clocked out Charles Oliveira in brutal fashion. I was heartbroken. He's going to fight, like I said, he's going to fight Justin Gaethje. That's going to be the White House card. He's going to clock Justin Gaethje as well in that fight, in my opinion. He moved up after just walking through the featherweight division, knocking out 2 of the greatest in that division. I talk about featherweight GOAT, my GOAT, Max, or Volk. He also clocked out Max Holloway as well. And Max's forte is supposed to be boxing. No, that's Ilya's forte, along with his wrestling, his jiu-jitsu, and pretty much almost everything else. So he is now double champ. He is ridiculously good. I don't know what is going to happen with him after this. I said Arman should get the title fight after he cleans out Gaethje, and I believe that'll happen. I believe it should happen, but that's conversation for another day. I'll focus on Ilya. He has the complete game. I've been talking about these other guys having these strengths. Ilya also has that strength. He has the complete package. I mentioned the striking. He's knocked out Volk and Holloway. He has the ground game as well. He put Charles in a crucifix, and I was just going on about how good Charles's jiu-jitsu is. So that right there tells you almost everything you need to know. But Ilya's ground game is fantastic as well. He hasn't shown it yet because he hasn't had to, but it's very, very strong, all things considered. So Ilya is number 2. After that, we get to Smash. I smash your boy. I smash everyone. And that is Hamza Shamaev. He is going in at number 6. I talk about one strength. He has the ultimate strength. He doesn't have the all-around game, which probably would have put him higher, but he has the best wrestling I have ever seen in a UFC fighter. He just wiped the floor with DDP, and it wasn't close. It was the most amount of control ever in a UFC fight. I think it was like 23 minutes of control. 5-minute rounds. Yeah. It was like 23 minutes of control or something like that. He got a takedown within the first 30 seconds of every round. So his wrestling is disgusting. He's going to fight Sean Strickland next in May 9th. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. And it's also nice to see that there's some level of activity. Because I feel like before, you saw him fight once every like year, 2 years, maybe. Like it was a rare thing to see him fight. But at middleweight, I know he fought at welterweight, which I have no idea how he did that. At middleweight, he just looks stronger, faster, bigger, just better than everyone else on in the cage. So he is at number 6. If he can, because I know he has some striking, but if he can continue to develop that and just build an all-around game, I could put him higher. But I feel like his wrestling is just so dominant that he doesn't need to to implement that, to have like that good of a striking game when you can just have this wrestling that is low key might just be like Olympic level wrestling. So yeah. And then the final fighter we got is Chama. We got Alex Pereira. He's had kind of a short UFC career, but during that time, he is probably one of the most active fighters in UFC history. He's a middleweight champion. Knocked out, took care of Izzy, took care of Strickland, and a couple other guys. He went up to light heavyweight, just cleared out everyone. His one loss to Ankh, and then he came back and I mentioned it. He wiped the floor with Ankh in the first round. Now he's going up to heavyweight. How he made middleweight, by the way, I have no clue. He took some of that black magic from the Amazon, bro. I have no idea how that man made middleweight. He is gigantic. I think he walks around at like 240. It's like a 60-pound weight cut. That's insane. But Alex has, I don't even want to say dynamite in his hand. He has nuclear bombs in his hands. Like he touches you, you go to sleep. It's kind of like Ngannou was, but just everything that Pereira throws is deadly. So yeah, this man has the potential to become a 3 division champion: middleweight, light heavy, and heavy. If he does that, I I have no idea. He might he might replace Islam at 1. If we see him win in 3 different divisions, I know he doesn't have the all around game. He doesn't really have a wrestling base, or we haven't seen it. Who knows? But I feel like just the deadliness of his striking is just so overwhelmingly dominant that you can't really compare it to what anyone else can do in the division or in the UFC in general. So, yeah. But that about wraps up the main topic of the episode. All 15 of what, in my opinion, are the top fighters in the UFC. Honorable mentions go out to Joshua Van, the flyweight champion, and also Cyril Gahn as well, the interim heavyweight champion. We'll see what happens with Pereira when that fight happens. But those are the guys that just missed it. And then what we have right now, we got Islam at 1, Ilya at 2, Alex at 3, Peter Yan at 4, Volk at 5, Hamzat at 6, Aspinall at 7, Merab at 8, Pantoja at 9, Armand 10, Charles 11, Ankh 12, Gaethje at 13, JDM at 14, and DDP at 15. If you have any gripes, good for you. I will feel free to have those debates with me whenever you want. I am here to debate this whenever, wherever. But I had fun. I certainly had fun with this. This was fun. Sorry for the technical difficulties there. My my whole system kind of just shut down on me without warning, so sorry about that. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed it, and love y'all. Let's get on to game time. Welcome to game time. We are going to be starting off by guessing the top 75 players in NBA history, and this is based off of the top 75 from 2021 75th anniversary team. First off, we got Jordan, you got LeBron, you got Kareem, Hakeem, Shaq, Curry, Kobe, Bird, McHale, Parrish, Walton, Kuzi, Russell, Havlicek, Pettit, Maravich, Cowan, Zunseld. No. I said Magic, right? Malone. Durant. Harden. Paul. Westbrook. Kidd. Nash. Garnett. Dirk. Wade. No. Iverson. Who else? Drexler. Ewing. Oh. Duncan. Robinson. Gervin. Giannis on here. Jokic is probably. Jokic is not. Oh yeah, because Jokic won his competitions or his MVPs after that. Who else? Who am I missing here? Maravich, DeBuscher. Wait. Oh, I should know this. There's the old New York Knicks. Oh, I should know this. Oh, fudge. Barkley. I said Stockton, right? No, I did. Stockton as well. Is Kawhi on here? No. Who else? Who else could I knock out? I put Wade, right? Yeah. Carmelo. Carmelo's on here. Rick Barry's on here. Nate Thurman is on here. No, Chris Mullin is not. Oh, McAdoo. Worthy. Who else? Maravich. I said Pistol Pete. I said Unseld. I said Walton. Who else am I missing here? No. Draymond, no. Clay didn't make it. Did AD make it? Yeah, he did. I know Clay didn't make it for a fact. Rick Barry. Who else am I missing here? Wow. This is not good. Oh, Rodman, Isaiah Thomas, you got Scottie Pippen, you got Reggie Miller, Ray Allen's on here. Obviously, those are some big. Oh, Paul Pierce is on here, if I can spell that correctly. Obviously. Bad Boy Pistons is. No way, right? No, absolutely not. Is oh no, it's not. What's his name? Mutombo's not on here. No, who else is on this list that I should 100% know? Kawhi. Why am I blanking on this? Dame is on here. Kyrie is not. Doncic? No, Luka's not on here. Is Jimmy Butler on here? I would be discussing Embiid. No, he's also not on here. Harden. It was Durant. Before Durant, it was LeBron. Oh, I'm trying to go back. I'm trying to go through MVPs. For Durant, you had LeBron. You had Duncan. Had AI, Garnett, Dirk. Not in that order. Then you had Shaq. You had the Kobe and Nash MVPs in there too. Jordan, Hakeem, Nasty Man, Barkley, Bird, Magic. Oh, obviously Wilt. Bird, Magic. I said Walton. I said Unseld. I said Cowens. Yeah, I said Cowens. Ewing. I don't know who else I'm missing here. I think I have. No, Powell isn't. Yeah, I don't know who else I'm missing. I didn't say Magic. Dolph Shays, Wilkins. Oscar. Oh my God. I thought I said Magic. That's embarrassing. That's really bad. Okay. Hopefully, we can inspire some confidence. At this point, you know the drill. I've done this. I don't even know how many weeks in a row, but we got the wheel here spinning to build the best possible NFL team. Who do we get first? Saints. The Saints. Interesting. Defense, they don't really have any defensive players. We could go wide receiver. They just signed ETN. But I want to save those positions. I'm going to go Saints O-line. The Saints O-line was not horrible. So that's a decent start there if I can get Patrick Mahomes. Then we will be golden. Okay, that is a very, very solid start. What else do we get? Okay, Commanders. Interesting. Do we take... Yeah. Well, I guess I'll take Dan Quinn. I'm not thrilled, but it's not... They don't really have a good running back. Already took a quarterback. Bears, Panthers. I guess I'll take Tet. After that, who else am I going to get? Give me someone. Wow. Yep, that's my defensive player. I'll take Myles Garrett. I don't believe I spelled that name right, but I will take Myles Garrett. Absolutely. After that, okay, we just built the best defense in the NFL. The Broncos defense with Myles Garrett is a scary sight to see. I think that this is already shaping up to be a Super Bowl winning team. We can't take another wide receiver, so we'll take Travis Etienne. It's not a bad pick. I just need two absolute demon receivers out here. And the Dolphins don't have one. Right. They don't have anyone. Oh, wow. Okay. Tyreek's still on the Dolphins? I don't believe so. They just traded away Jalen Waddle. Who do they have? They don't have Darren Waller anymore either. Who do the Dolphins have at receiver now? Who do they have at wide? I think no. They still have Darren Waller on the roster. He hasn't been cut yet. This is horrible. Oh, okay. I need a wide receiver one here. Drake London is Well, I kind of just built out the Chiefs, the regular Chiefs, decent O-line, a Mahomes, and no one else on offense, and then the best defense in the league. This is just the Chiefs of like 2 years ago. Or like 3 years ago. This is, oh my God. Never have luck with this, with the NFL spin. Okay. We got a defense here. Who is this a 91st team that comes to mind with the 97 at the edge is Nick Bosa. It was not the 49ers. Who else could this be? 97 off the edge. Myles Garrett doesn't wear 97, does he? No, it's not the Browns. Who else wears? I think I might be fixating too much on 97 off the edge. Who else? Who could this possibly be? I am horrible at jersey numbers. Wow. 97 off the edge. The 56 on the other side, I feel like that's more of a linebacker than a proper D end. So, who could a proper linebacker, or not a proper linebacker, like, who could that edge rusher be? And then 27 and 21. 21 is the secondary. There's also 23 at linebacker. I don't know who this is. I'm trying to rack my brain to think of defenses. No way this is the Bills, right? No. This is embarrassing. This is really bad. Okay. Who could this possibly be? I think. No. This is my last shot, so I either get it here or I don't, which is not great. Oh dear. Shot in the dark. Go Buccaneers. Karloftis. Yep. That makes way more sense. Okay, we're gonna draft this lineup. I'm taking Puka. George Kittle for 3 is a steal. Then after that, interesting. I like Brock Purdy at 3 as well. But it gives me a remaining budget of 4. I could go Higgins. I still have. That's an issue, though. I'm over the budget. I got 2 left. Because, dude, Jackson Dart is not better than Brock Purdy. I feel like Cam Ward is the bigger bargain here. I don't know if I really want Keaton Mitchell. This is weird. Because I want Puka for sure. Interesting. What do I do here? Do I just go like that? Maybe. Yeah, I'll take that. Purdy, Saquon, Ayuk. Nah. All right. We are now going to go switch up the sports. We are now going to build up our roster to win the Champions League this year. Who do we start out with? We got Man City. So I think we'll start with Donnarumma in goal. Just get a solid goalie because those are kind of hard to come by, low key. Who is it? Roma. Interesting. Okay. Who do I want to take from Roma? I don't know. I watched them play Bologna yesterday. I'll put Ibarra, even though he doesn't necessarily start. I just have a bias towards him, and I always will. Please give me someone good. You've got to be kidding me. Wonderful. Who do I want to add here? I guess because I can't really think of anyone else, and I don't want to use up 2 midfield slots for Roma. So we'll put a defender. Oh, Real. Atletico Madrid. I can live with that. I can very much live with that. Who do I want to take? I could take Julian Alvarez, or I could take Antoine Griezmann. I'll take Alvarez, just because he's younger than Griezmann, but no crazy other bias there. After that, give me someone good. Don't be Tottenham. Arsenal. I'll take Bukayo Saka. Very good. Very solid. After that, I want another good defender. Another Atletico Madrid player. Who do I want to go with now? I feel like I should take a defender here. Yeah. Defender. Yeah, I think he went to Atletico Lenormand. Defender for the Spanish national team as well. So, not a bad start. After that, give me someone else. Inter. Who do I want to take from Inter? I guess I'll take. I don't want to take. Yeah, I'll take Barella. Not exactly inspiring confidence in me, though. Oh, please. Arsenal or City? Arsenal. Well, rounding out the midfield, I'll take Declan Rice then. I won't complain about that. Good midfielder. I just need my outside backs now. United. Who do I want to take from Manchester United? They had kind of weird formation, so I'll just take Luke Shaw and play it safe. Nothing crazy. After... Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Juventus. If this was Yildiz, I could have put him on the other side. I guess I'll just go Kalulu. That's disgusting. I don't like that at all. After that, please give me... Oh, stay there. Yes. Okay. I'll take that. That is not a bad lineup at all. Honestly, yeah, I'm not complaining about this. This is a very, very good lineup. I don't know if they're winning the Champions League, though, because I feel like that defense leaves a lot to be desired. So I'd say they get quarterfinals, maybe semis, but beyond that, I don't think they're winning it this year. Not bad though. Not bad at all. After that, we'll hide the photo. You know the deal. Let's get into guessing the player. Not a Premier League player, not a midfielder, and he's not Portuguese. Who do we want to take here? He's an older player, though. So, do we go Serie A? Do we go La Liga? Who's an older player in... We'll go older player in La Liga. We'll go Courtois, I guess. It is a goalkeeper in La Liga. Wow. Okay. There's no way. Oh my good. There's no way. That was a total shot in the dark guess. I can't believe I got that right. Okay. Now we got a foot draft as per usual. What formation do I want to go with this time? 3-5-2, 4-3, 4-3-1-2. We'll go with that. Who do we take? I think we take Shearer just purely off of for chemistry purposes. After, Laudrup, very nice, and okay, that is a disgustingly good attack. Oh my gosh. Okay. Who else? Dude, this is just spitting out cards. What is happening? Okay, slow down a bit. Wow. Yo! What? I swear I didn't do anything. There's no way. Sure. There is no. Oh my. I have a 191 and I haven't even done it. I drafted my starting lineup. What just happened? Oh my. What in the world? Okay. Yo. I'm just going highest rated player right now. Vidal, I guess. It's already lowered my rating by 1. Onto the... Oh my. Okay. 95 reserve goalie. Here are some more stinkers. Yeah, Muriel. Not horrible. Okay. I guess just another 91 rated card. That was an insane start. And it's back to a 1. That... How is this I don't understand. This is ridiculous. Wow. Okay then. Well, I just drafted the craziest FIFA team I've ever drafted on the podcast. With let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 icons. 2 95 rated keepers. I have an icon on the bench. Wow. That's insane. All right. Hopefully, maybe the NBA luck keeps going. We have to draft a team to beat the prime Golden State Warriors. And we start with the Memphis Grizzlies. One of the worst teams in the league. Right. What in the world do we do? They don't have Jaren Jackson anymore. They don't have anyone. Who am I going to put? Cedric Cower on Draymond? Or Ja? I don't want Cedric Cower on Draymond now. I'll do that. Why not? Cedric Cower on Draymond. It could be worse. Who else do we get? Ooh, Sixers. I'll take that. 76ers, Embiid. Yeah. Take Joel Embiid. He stomps out JaVale McGee any day of the week, even at this point. But he has been playing well, so I won't complain. And then we take it chalk. Curry for Curry. I can deal with that. Not horrible. Please don't. No. No. Ew. I'll put Modest at the 3, even though Modest against KD is disgusting. Hopefully, give me Shea. Not what I wanted. Do I do the nastiest thing in the world here? Oh, what do I do here? Dude. I'm doing it. I'm going for it. I'm doing it. I don't care. The biggest lineup humanly possible. We got Curry, and then we got Modest at 6'10". We got Cedric Cower. We got Embiid and Jokic. Honestly, the spacing isn't horrible either. You got Embiid who can space. You got Curry who can space. You got Jokic working as a point center. That's not horrible. Not bad, honestly. It's a very weird lineup, but it's not horrible. I don't hate it. I don't know how they fare against the prime Warriors. I'd say 7-game series in favor of the Warriors. Who know? You guys have to let me know who wins this. I don't know. It's weird. And then, as per usual, we got our Hoop Goat tier list. I have no idea who this is. So Luka will put tier 2. Trae Young. I have a feeling it's that draft class. Yeah. Shea. Yeah, we'll put Shea at 1. Mikhail. 3. Kevin Herter, 4. Get out of here. MPJ at 3. Brunson, 2. Grayson at 4. And Dante. Dude, that's a perfect tier list. That is a perfect tier list. What? That is the perfect tier list. That's perfect. 2018 draft. Dude. Shea, Luka and Brunson, and then Trae, Mikhail, MPJ, and then Mitch, Herter, Grayson Allen, Don. Dude, that is the perfect tier list. Let's see if we can do. Let's do another tier list. Let's go best handles. Go. Oh, 4. Chris Paul, not horrible. Nick Van Exel there. Marbury. Brandon. Oh, fudge. Hardaway. Arenas. Kemba. And. That is disgusting. Time to move on from that, because clearly we're not doing well. What in the world are these names? Corey Kispert and Jalen Suggs? Get rid. Oh, fudge. Herb Jones will take that. Oh, no. I don't have a choice. Okay, Sengun makes sense. Ew. No. I should have kept Suggs. Not horrible, though. I might have traded out Suggs for somebody, but that's not horrible. And last off, we'll do some start bench cut. I guess MPJ, Denny, and Matherin. Put a sock in it. I don't know if Denny is better than MPJ, because Denny, if you've watched Denny the way he plays, he kind of just puts his shoulder into you and just bulldozes his way to the basket. And I feel like MPJ is a bit more, I don't want to say more ethical hoops, but kind of. So, yeah, we'll put MPJ above. Sengun, well, Hallie, yeah. Yep. John Morant is, whoa. Oh, what does Amari Stoudemire have to do with Ant and Brunson? What in the world is he doing there? Ant is, that's chalk for me. I'm not changing that. Yeah. All right. That is the end of that. Now we'll wrap it up with our final game. Total. Let's see if I can beat the soccer game. Okay, it's a Warriors player. Forward. He's bigger than 6'2". Who do I want to pick here? This is crazy. It's not a center. It's not a guard. Older than 21. Will Richard. Dude, I feel like Will Richard. I felt like Will Richard was bigger than when I watched him. It's not Draymond because he's 23. It's not Pods because he's a guard. They put Jimmy on here? Yeah, they did. Not bad. Not bad at all. That was interesting. I don't know how I feel about it, but it didn't go horribly. So, yeah. That didn't go horribly, but now it is time to get into essentially the end of the show. We're going to preview the upcoming schedule for most of the stuff that is happening. Start off with the NBA. Not a crazy slate of games, honestly. We got two decently hot teams. We got the Lakers facing off against the Magic tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. Lakers, I believe, 8-game winning streak. Luka has been doing disgustingly well, as I talked about. So that is Should be interesting. And then nothing else really interesting on Saturday. So we go to Sunday. You got the T-Wolves and the Celtics at 8 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. Celtics looking to maintain their lead over the Knicks for the 2 seed in the East, while the Timberwolves are looking to gain some ground in that logjam that's sitting in the West. And then finally on Monday, we got the Lakers again, but this time they're playing the Pistons. 7 p.m. I don't know what the Pistons are going to look like now that they don't have Cade, but it should be interesting. After that, we go over to the world of soccer. We'll start off in the French League on Sunday at 12:15 Eastern. We got Marseille versus Lille, battle of two top 5 teams in the Ligue 1. Ligue 1 only has 3 automatic Champions League bids, so this is an important matchup for them. After that, we have Arsenal Manchester City. This isn't Premier League. This is Carabao Cup, I believe. But nevertheless, it is Arsenal and Manchester City. So it is a spectacular game to watch. And that is at 12:30 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. And then wrapping it up, we have Real Madrid versus Atletico Madrid at 12 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. One of this and El Clásico are the biggest games in Spanish soccer. I cannot wait to see this. Both of these teams are coming off of impressive, dominating round of 16s in the Champions League, so it'll be interesting to see how they do. After that, it's March Madness. I've talked about it in the news. I am following it like a madman. As soon as I'm done recording this, I am gonna watch more of it. There were some insane games that happened today. Kentucky versus Santa Clara was wild. VCU just killed. North Carolina's out. Duke barely survived. Like, I'm tuning into that, absolutely. And I'm also tuning into nationals for wrestling. They started yesterday, happening today and tomorrow. Finals are tomorrow. I'm going to be tuning into that as well. Know a couple guys out there in Cleveland. It's been mostly chalk so far, but there have been some upsets, some crazy runs. Some of the semifinals have already been decided, but it's been some good wrestling. I've been enjoying it, so stay tuned for that as well. I will go over all of those. I'll go over the wrestling in the new show on Tuesday. But that has been this entire episode. I have been at home. If you haven't noticed a change of scenery, change in the background, I'm at home right now, not at school, but I'm gonna be going back. So, next show, next news episode, you'll see me back in a familiar environment. But I had fun this week. I had fun recording this, getting some opinions from some of my friends back here at home. So, thank you all for watching. If you're listening on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. To my new listeners, thank you for tuning in. If you're listening on Spotify, comment, follow the podcast, and yeah, thank you. Tune in on Tuesday. I shall see y'all then. Peace.